Yeah.
Hey, it's Bill, and you're tuned in to 3 Questions in a Song, episode number 68, where the title of the podcast tells you everything there is to know, except for when it doesn't, which is every time, because it's never 3 questions. With me tonight are Dixon and Corey from Crash Army. What's up, gentlemen?
He's Corey, I'm Dixon. Hello, Bill. It's good to be here. Hope the internet holds up.
Let's hope. So, you are working on your second album, if I read correctly.
Yes.
But you're relatively new to the scene, correct?
Yes.
These don't count as questions. That's how we're doing this.
I know how you operate. It's not 3 questions, it's 33.
That's right. That was my hockey number. That's a good pick. So, when did you guys get together, and how did you get together?
When we got together it was just me and Corey. Probably November of last year. He just left a band. He was looking for a new band, and he was depressed and all that. So I decided, I'll pick up the bass and start learning it. And then after that, we found a drummer, and we went from there.
We've been together about a year.
I found, you kind of found me actually through First Angel, and I've pretty much taken advantage of almost everything that First Angel does, which is awesome.
Ambitious.
And if you since I brought that up, right below me in the video, you'll notice that their new EPK, which is almost done, done-ish, hosted at First Angel Media. And I've been showing it off a lot. I don't know if you guys have started showing it off, but I've been showing it off.
I'll show it to a few people. I want to show it to record labels. That was the point of making it.
Well, yeah, that's a great plan. That and venues, they'll help you get booked. And you guys are correct. We do need to get you a photo, like a promo shot of everybody in the band. The stage shot that's behind us that they saw as the video was starting is cool, but it's not a promo shot.
I like it.
It's too far back. Like, we'd want something more up close.
Well, and the thing with that shot is I used I think it's a 22 millimeter lens. So I really wasn't that far from the stage, but the way the lens is set up, it captures a wide view.
Right.
Since we're talking about that night, I will tell you, whatever that thing was in front of the stage, it was a pain.
Yeah. It had to be some mining tools or something.
I'm assuming it looked like a big saw, but I don't know, like, what you would use that for in mining.
It was a trip hazard too. I'm glad no one tripped over it all night.
I backed into it a couple times. So for those of you that aren't familiar with what we're talking about, they just played a show at the Haunted Mine, which is the Tour Ed Mine, just outside of Pittsburgh. I think it has a Tarentum address.
Yes.
It's the first time I've been there while it was haunted. I didn't know that whole area was even back there. I've been in the mine a couple times as a kid, once with my son's Cub Scout pack a couple years ago. What was the Haunted Mine like?
I thought it was great. It was you got to ride in this little cart thing, like this underground mine cart.
Just smacking my head.
Yeah, and
I think I forewarned you guys about that, didn't I?
You did, yeah. And it lasted like twice as long as a normal haunted attraction. I like that about it. It was worth the money, even though we didn't have to pay. Whoever did have to pay, it was worth the money.
How did you come across that gig? Because I didn't even know they had bands.
Yeah, this was the first year they did it. A coworker at U Pull and Pay where we work. He well, we were gonna do a Halloween show at the Hayride place in North Sales, but there was that shooting. So then last minute we needed to find a place to play, and our friend Mark knew Nathan, the guy who owns the Haunted Mine, and he got us in there.
Very cool. Did you say You Pull and Pay?
Yes, scrapyard.
Where is that at?
Penn Hills, Wilkinsburg.
Okay. There. We gave you a sort of a shout out.
They don't need it. $1 billion company. They didn't need that.
I visited some of those. Not that one, but I have been to a few.
They're convenient, for sure.
That's my dad. Not so much anymore. He's getting older, but he used to keep all of our vehicles on the road, and he also has a 1937 Ford two-door that's a street rod, a 1932/31 Ford Model A Vicky, and a 1955 Ford Crown Victoria. The Crown Victoria is almost original. The other two are whatever he felt like making them. So we've been to a few places where he's like, this is what I'm looking for. Go try and find that.
Do they still run?
Oh, yeah. All three of them.
Awesome. Yeah.
The 37, they have driven from here to California and back. They drove it through Death Valley.
I've been there.
It was so hot they had to turn the air conditioner off because it kept overheating the car. If you knew my mom, that's a great story from her. They also drove it to they drove it to British Columbia, and if you know your geography, you can't actually get there by land. You have to get on a boat. But the car has been there, and they drove it to Florida and back too. And then the 37, I don't know what the longest trip that one's taken. That one's new. The 55 is hard to drive, though, so it doesn't do many long road trips.
Right.
But no power steering, no power brakes, no air. Well, yeah, no air conditioner.
Yeah, that's a rough ride.
That's the one that I like to drive. And the steering wheel looks like it's out of a tractor trailer. Like it's... But anyway, I'll be cutting that out of the actual show. So how many, I hate asking this, but how many shows have you guys actually played?
That was the first show like that we hosted, that we set up with our new drummer. Like that was our first big show that we've ever played. But we played like open stages and smaller little things throughout the past year, but that was our first big show.
I wasn't laughing at your answer. I was laughing at the phone vibrating.
No, we're green. We're definitely a new band. We've not been doing this very long at all.
Well, I told you afterwards, like when you guys were getting ready, I was definitely worried. But once you started playing, I lost that worry pretty quickly. I was impressed. Once you were plugged in and broadcasting to the world, you were good to go. And I really, really liked your Freebird cover, punking it up a little bit.
Yeah, that was my idea. I'll take the credit for that. Yeah, Josh. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, and it was funny that someone in the crowd yelled it right before you were planning on playing it.
Yeah. Josh forgot his, what was it, his cymbal stand?
Snare stand.
It was the snare stand.
My dad had to pick that up and bring it, and I broke my tuning pedal before I even sang the first song. So we had issues like before we even got started. It was pretty challenging. But,
I didn't notice you doing a lot of tuning. Did the guitar stay in tune?
My Telecaster, it's not the best guitar. It doesn't stay in tune like that well, but it does the job. I know a couple times.
The weather will definitely wreak havoc on that a bit.
Yeah. The weather was another challenge for that show. With the rain, a lot of people didn't show up because of the rain all weekend.
I will tell you, one of the coolest shots that I got was of Dixon when the smoke rolled in. It looks like the stage was foggy. I don't know if you guys noticed. I ran down the front of the stage taking pictures, trying to get all of you with the smoke.
I thought you brought a fog machine. I was like, you brought a fog machine and lit up the stage.
I smelled it, and I'm like, where? And then I saw it coming across the stage, and I'm like, oh, I can't miss this. Yeah, and then the shot of you, Corey, that you're using as your profile pic, that is not smoke. That's the vapor coming out of your mouth.
I didn't know that. Do you remember what song I was singing on that?
I don't. I want to say it was towards the middle of the set. I'm trying to think of where it was in my pictures. I want to say it was towards the middle.
Okay. I was just wondering because it looked like I was screaming really loud, whatever song it was.
I would agree with that. Man, I can't. I'm trying to think. Trying to remember the covers you played because I think it was a cover. It wasn't Sex and Candy, that's for sure.
No. Maybe Blitzkrieg Bop. About a Girl. Nirvana.
It may have been that.
Yeah.
Blitzkrieg Bop, by the way, is the first punk song I ever played for my kids, and they sing along when it comes on. So they may not be huge rock and metal and punk fans, but I have at least gotten them to. They like Skynyrd. They like a little bit of punk. I can't get them to do anything with metal though. As soon as metal comes on, they're gone.
I'm with your kids, honestly. Metal's it's a little bit too heavy for me. Like, no offense to any of the metal players, but it just doesn't do it for me. Like, it's too aggressive. That's just me though. I kind of walk the line, and I have lines on both ends. Like, I will go. There's some country that I like, not a lot. Right. Southern rock, I'm into. Yeah. And then anything from there to metal, but not Cookie Monster metal. Yeah, right. There is some Cookie Monster metal that I like, but I want to understand the vocals. And there's a place for that. Like I understand where it falls into everything, and I have respect for anyone who goes up on stage, but the Cookie Monster vocals are hard for me to stick with. Right. And it's like when it's the whole song too. Like I like metal where like they'll do the scream thing for part of it, and then they'll break into like the verse and they'll sing, and then like a back forth. But when it's just all like the whole song, like it's just I can't understand that. Well, like the Skell song that I sent to you to listen to. That was good. I love that band. Is that metal? Would you call that metal? Not that song, but some of the other stuff that they play, I would call that more like it's rock, but it's heavy. Heavy rock, yeah. I don't know. Heavy rock? That's what I would call it. But they're definitely they walk the line. Like they have songs that sound like Pantera, and then they have stuff that sounds like that. Let's see what else I'm gonna ask. We've really just been having a conversation. I haven't really asked you any oddball questions yet. I'm having fun so far. If you sat down on a bench and your musical idol sits down beside you, and you're only allowed to ask them one question. First of all, who sat down beside you, and what question are you going to ask them? All right, that's easy for me. It would definitely be John Lennon. And I would ask him, I only got one question to ask him.
Yep. Now, you may end up carrying on a conversation with him after that, so you have to make sure that the question counts.
Right. John Lennon's sitting right next to me, and I got one question. The question would be, will you spend the next week sitting here with me and talking to me? That would be the question.
How about you, Dixon? It's like that answer wasn't long enough. I haven't thought it through yet.
Yeah.
Just wait. They don't get easier.
Oh, great. For me, I really like the Smashing Pumpkins, so I would say Billy Corgan.
It was Bullet. It was Bullet. Yeah.
Bullet with a Butterfly Wing.
Yes, that was the song that you were singing.
That makes sense. It looks like, yeah.
What did I ask him?
It's hard. It's a hard question. Will you sleep with me?
I don't know. Billy Corgan's sitting next to me. I'm going to ask him a question. How do you do it? I mean, honestly, I have no other idea. Like, how do you do it? How do you make these songs that are just so fantastic?
You guys are considerably younger than me, I think. When that song came out, I was in IRC. Do you know what IRC is?
No.
See, you're younger than me. Internet Relay Chat, which still exists, but when AOL Instant Messenger came out, which is probably before you too, it kind of killed it.
I remember AOL.
Hey, so IRC means Internet Relay Chat, and it's literally chat rooms that you can go in and chat with people. And we had this room that I ran, and there were people in it, and we used to quote that song all the time. So you started playing. I'm like, I haven't heard this in forever.
I remember when that song came out too, because I was probably 4 or 5 years old, and the music video was on MTV.
I was in college.
I remember, that's one of the. I remember November Rain, Guns N' Roses was on a lot. Smells Like Teen Spirit, Bullet Butterfly Wings. That was a time in my life, an early time that I remember watching MTV and seeing those videos, and I always remembered that video.
The fact that you remember watching MTV when there were videos on it amazes me.
Yeah,
been a while.
Yeah, get ridiculousness off the air. We're tired of ridiculousness.
It is
That's a great line. Emmeline, I'm live.
How long ago was that? 500 years ago that you were in college?
Go away. Could you hear her?
Rude.
500 years?
That's what she said. Emmeline, they said you were rude.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, fair, but it's my job.
Fair, but it's my job. That's what she said. That's one of my 2 11-year-old daughters.
I'm about to have a daughter. You better not tell me that.
Oh, it'll happen.
I've heard stories, yeah. When they're young, they're your best friend. They love dad, and then when they get older, dad's some loser.
Well, we're not at that point yet. She's just giving me a hard time. But it is coming. But there's two of those 11-year-old twins, and then I have a 13-year-old son who hardly ever pokes his head in during this. The girls, now that I'm in the kitchen, their room is right off of the kitchen, so they're always floating by. I'm surprised she didn't come out when I was talking about our musical tastes.
Chime in.
Let's see. Where do I want to go? Okay. So you are standing at the crossroads, much like Robert Johnson, the myth of Robert Johnson or legend, whatever you want to call it, lore, where he disappeared for a year. He sold his soul to the devil, and now he can play an amazing guitar right before somebody poisoned his whiskey and killed him. If you're standing at those crossroads waiting for the devil to appear, what are you going to attempt to sell your soul for?
You got
What would I sell my soul for?
caution, it's gonna get dark.
I don't know. I don't really want to take a shortcut on playing my instrument, but
You don't have to do it.
I don't have to. I guess I have no idea what I'd sell my soul for. Honestly,
It's definitely it's a tough question, especially when it puts you on the spot.
I mean, I guess get the band famous.
How about you, Corey?
So I believe in spirit. I'm a spiritual person. So I wouldn't sell my soul, but if I were to sell my soul, it would be, like Mike said, for this band to be successful. That's the most important thing in my life. So I'd do whatever it takes to make sure this band makes it.
So the reaction to that question is usually what I just got from you two. I get that. Well, I wouldn't. So this is where I point out that I teach at a Catholic school, so I get what you're saying. But I have a unique way of asking everything I want to ask, and that just happens to be what's your end goal?
Right.
Speaking along those lines, let's say that Crash Army ends up headlining a tour, and I, for some reason, am tagging along with you. What is the soundtrack going to be between tour stops? So what are you listening to on the bus?
Oh man, what are we listening on the bus? Say Nirvana, Smashing Pumpkins,
Beatles.
I like Metallica. So
Put your headphones on. I like Metallica. The Beatles, Nirvana, Smashing Pumpkins, and Justin Bieber. Because we got to stay current. We got to know what's trendy. So,
Are you familiar with the local band The Cheats?
yeah, actually, I wouldn't say familiar, but I've heard of them.
So their bass player, when I asked that question, told me that he likes to listen to Taylor Swift. They are 100% punk. No question about it. That is a punk band. Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
So I met him in person, and he didn't see me coming. I walked up, and I leaned over and bumped him, and he looked at me, and I'm like, Taylor Swift? He's like, oh, yeah, I love me some Tay-Tay.
She's talented. She's definitely talented.
This is perfect segue, too. There's a story that Dave Grohl tells about being at Paul McCartney's house, and Paul sits down at the piano and starts playing this new song, and he finishes the song, and everyone looks at Dave and are like, Dave, play something. And he goes, and I'm a little what's the word he used? Altered. I'm a little altered at this stage, and I know that I don't know how to play the piano, and Paul's left-handed, so all of his guitars are left-handed, and I'm sitting there trying to figure out how I'm going to get out of this. And Taylor Swift stands up and goes, I'll play a song. And he goes, and she goes over and she sits down at the piano and she starts playing the song. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, I know this song. And he looks at his wife and he's like, I know this song. And she goes, yeah, it's yours. He goes, so then I felt bad. And I went over and I sat down beside her and she's singing in her beautiful voice. And I'm singing like I normally do. He goes, it didn't go well.
What song was it?
I don't remember, but there's a YouTube video about it. So if you Google the time Taylor Swift saved Dave Grohl, you will find it. But the reason it's a perfect segue is because I ask this question a lot. Who is your Dave Grohl? In other words, who do you want to get up on stage with and play one of their songs?
Yeah, I would have to say Billy Corgan. Like I would like to play with the Smashing Pumpkins if anything. I wouldn't do them justice, but I could try.
All my heroes are dead. I can't play with Kurt or John. So I was just thinking about this the other day. I don't know if it's gonna come to me. Who's still alive that I would want to play with? Johnny Rotten comes to mind, but it wasn't him. Who was it? Damn it! Damn it! If I could get up on stage and play with anybody, the Ramones are dead too, huh?
Yeah,
They're all dead. Honestly, nobody. Like, yeah, all the people I really love are gone. So I guess nobody.
I just it didn't register until the other day, and now when we were talking, Robert Johnson was the first at the 27 club. He was 27 when he was poisoned.
Yeah.
So first musician who didn't make it past 27, and Kurt is in that list and multiple others.
I thought Jimi Hendrix was the first.
Robert Johnson's definitely older than Jimmy.
Yeah, fair enough.
Before we go any further, why don't you go ahead and take your MTV moment and tell me about your song?
Happy Never After?
See, that's how I got away with not messing it up.
There it is. Happily Never After. All right, so I wrote the song about a year ago, and I was having a really bad day, and I remember being at Walmart with my wife, and I was just really depressed, and I kept looking at random things and saying, like, Twizzlers make me happy, cupcakes make me happy, and it actually made me happier because I just kept like saying these things make me happy, and it just stuck in my head. And as soon as I got home, I picked up my guitar and wrote that song.
So it's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's like the one thing I remember from my psychology classes. One. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a moment and listen to Happy Never After by Crash Army.
Yes!
And I cheated. Come on. and we will be right back. And for those of you who are tuned in live right now, you could be typing in the video and we can respond to you. So that's notice one. Notice two is you're not going to get to hear the song right now because YouTube and Facebook would mute the videos, and we don't want that to happen. So we're going to pretend like you listened to it, and we're going to come back into the interview portion here in just a few moments. But while that, before we do that, I do want to mention that you can find this on buildthescene.com. You just go there. It'll be there on November 1st. And it will have the song included. And later you're going to hear me ask a question from last week's guest. And you'll actually hear that guest ask the question in the final version. But anyway. Ready?
Send it.
That was Happy Never After by Crash Army, who are hanging out with me tonight. So here's another one of those questions that doesn't count. Where did the name Crash Army come from?
Oh man.
An angel came to me in a dream and gave me the name. We knew as a band with our original drummer that we wanted something Army, but it took us like months, like I'd say about 2 months, just back and forth. Like we weren't satisfied with anything, and yeah, somebody helped me with that.
And while we're talking about the band name, Dixon, you want to show off that shirt?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Here, there you go.
There you go. Let's see it. There we go.
They're for sale.
Not
And
this.
not that one.
Right.
I don't know. You wore it. You can sign it, and you may get more money out of it.
True. I didn't think of that.
Where can somebody get a hold of one of those?
Probably just messaging us on Facebook and probably mail it to you.
Cool.
Not find us another show.
We'll have them at the shows.
I'm going to do this again. Right below me is the EPK address. When you go there, there's a whole row of logos, including the Facebook logo. So you can click on there to get to the Facebook page, and many other social media links that I found along the way. And they have recently been added to bands in town if you're looking to follow their shows.
We are on there.
So let's go one more oddball question, and then we'll wrap it up. Before I ask this, how many originals do you guys have?
So Operation New Dawn, our first album that's out on all platforms. There's 10 songs.
9 originals.
And there's 9 originals. Our Freebird, our punk rock Freebird's on there. And then there's 9 originals. And then we're working on Staggering Soldier. We have probably 6 to 8 originals on there. So probably like 16, 17 original songs.
All right. This question should work then. All right. So a apocalyptic event happens and wipes out almost all human life on the earth. And there's a handful of humans left. And only one song from every band survives.
Mm.
Which one of your songs should survive to help repopulate the earth?
Help repopulate it.
Specific.
Yeah.
I'd explain, but my daughter is standing right there.
Yeah, okay. I'm tracking you.
Song to repopulate.
That grin. Dixon obviously knows what I'm asking.
I knew exactly what you're asking. It's just none of our songs are really that kind of sexy, you know.
Well, I mean, there could be a bass line in it. There could be a certain drum.
Keep to the beat is what you're saying.
Yeah.
What would you think?
So that specific twist to the question, I would have to say Indecision.
I don't even know what the song is about, but now I'm thinking there's only a handful of people. How many decisions are there?
Yeah. It's like Mike said, we don't really do a lot of love songs and stuff, but that one's is it kind of a love song? I mean,
Kind of. If you
Yeah.
think about it.
and it's like upbeat. The
Fast paced. The
2-minute
beginning.
drill.
2-minute drill. So you're saying you guys don't do like Barry White covers then?
No.
No. All right. So before I forget, because I've done that, I sent you on a mission to check out Joe Patrick and 4 on the Floor.
Yeah.
Did you come up with a question for them?
Yeah, I checked out their Facebook. Like country's not my forte, but it seemed like I was looking at their scheduling, like they're doing a lot of shows and stuff. Which I'm happy for them. My question is, where do you guys see yourselves 1 year from now?
Cool. And now I'm going to throw the question at you from last episode's guest, which basically was he wanted to know what Corey's vocal influences were, because when Happy Never After started, he heard Nirvana, and then when your vocals started, he didn't hear Nirvana, but he liked the mix.
Well, I'm really happy that happened when he listened to it, because just real quick, my vocal journey started like 3 years ago, whatever, when I started playing guitar and singing, and it was really hard. Anybody out there that wants to be a singer, it's a challenge. Your voice is like a muscle. It takes a long time. And I made the mistake of trying to sound like Kurt before. I've been on stage trying to imitate him. I've tried to imitate John Lennon. I've tried to sound like a lot of different people. But eventually I found out I just have to sound like myself. And so what was the question? Who are your influences? I guess the Beatles and Nirvana are my heaviest influences, but when I sing, I just try to sound like myself. That's all I can say.
Since Dixon's here as well, who are your bass influences?
I was thinking about this on the ride over too. I really like Flea from Chili Peppers, and then you got Les Claypool from oh man, band up.
Yeah, I know. I am not pulling that out of my head. I know who you mean though.
Yeah, Les Claypool from Primus. I would really love to learn how to slap like he does. But so far, like all these songs, I pretty much taught myself to play the bass, so I just play like myself.
That's kind of how I learned how to do web design. That's how I learned to podcast. That's how I learned how to do lots of stuff.
One fact, Bull with the Butterfly Wing was the first song I ever learned. I learned a dumbed down version, so when we went to cover it, I had to relearn the whole song over again. But yeah, I feel like it went well.
So I've been sitting here looking at the mic stand behind you guys with the flag hanging off of it, and I got a really cool shot of just that I didn't do anything with. But if you want it, I will edit it and send it your way.
Yeah, do that. My mother-in-law actually was looking at that, like one of your pictures, and she pointed out the flag hanging off the mic stand. She really liked it, so I think I'm gonna keep it on there.
I do have another question for Dixon.
Oh boy! All right.
Well, I wouldn't think it's as hard as the other ones have been. But you were on stage with your sunglasses on, and you have sunglasses on now. Just your look?
No, honestly, it started off when we were doing the upper stages. With all the lights flashing, I get migraines real easy, so I wear the sunglasses, and I just came off of one hell of a migraine probably an hour ago. So just be easy on the eyes, you know.
I can't remember. It may have been you. It was you. I was talking about the front lighting, and you were like, well, if you have to use flash, use flash. I'm like, I don't have flash.
Yeah, that's right.
I told my wife, I'm like, I think I worried him. With stage lighting, you really don't need to flash. So I never bought one.
But pictures came out great. So
thank you.
All right.
2 more questions for you. The first one is, where can people get a hold of the album you have finished? And I believe you have a video coming out that you probably want to talk about.
Yes. All right, so you can get a hold of Operation New Dawn on any platform. We went through DistroKid, so it's on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, anywhere. And then, sorry, I meant, what was the other part? Sorry about that.
The video.
The video. Okay, yeah, sorry. All right, so our first big video, All My Friends Are Suicidal, comes out Halloween night, the 31st at 7 p.m. Not to give too much away, but in the first scene, I drop my old guitar off the Westinghouse Bridge and it shatters.
I saw that. Did you really do that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We almost got in trouble for that.
Cops were on the scene. Yeah. It was pretty cool. But no, our friend Marcus, actually the guy that pointed me to you guys, First Angel Media, he's the one that shot the video. It took a long time to get done. It's finally done, and we're super pumped to put it out and move on.
See, now I have a question about dropping the guitar off. Did they tell you had a permit to do that or something?
Well, where we were at, we're kind of in a restricted area. We're on the train tracks. And the cop comes up and he's just like, "What are you guys doing?" So we had to make a quick lie, like, "Oh, we're just shooting B-roll of the bridge." And then as soon as he was out of the way, I was just like, "Drop the guitar now, drop it now." And boom, happened. Ran up, picked up all the pieces, and we got out of there.
And I still got the pieces in my trunk. Boom. Yeah, I'm hanging on to that.
Yeah, I didn't. I figured there was some movie magic going on there.
Nope, that's real.
I may have seen this video already. For those of you trying to figure out,
Yeah, you got a sneak peek.
I did. And you can find that on YouTube, or again, if you go to EPK, it'll be on there too. It's actually there waiting to premiere. So.
Thank you.
You are not the first person that I explained how to do a premiere to this week.
No?
Nope. The other one is Gonto, which he's another unique set of vocals. He is kind of metal-ish, but his vocals are kind of Johnny Cash-like.
Cool. It's interesting.
And he has a song coming out tomorrow. I don't know what premiere time he put on it, but it's called Warrior Soul. And I also saw that video ahead of time. Sometimes it's good to be me.
Is it coming out on YouTube?
Yes.
Warrior Soul. Copy that.
Yeah, we'll check that
out. He just he puts out singles and then builds a LP out of all the singles when he's done. And he's just a studio, not just but a studio musician. He doesn't play out.
Cool.
But let's see. This one I'm thinking you might not have an answer to, but you can use it as a way to get some. Which sounds really bad after I asked you about which song would help repopulate the earth. But anyway, where can people find you playing? Like, what do you have coming up next? And if you don't, give us some information so anyone who's listening can that may have a venue may contact you.
Yeah, we're always down to play. Always, we love playing. Our next big show is at the Halftime Lounge on November 13th. There's a flyer on Facebook. A friend of mine's band is putting out their first album, and they asked us to open for them. So we'll be there. I think it starts at 8:00. That's our next show.
I actually do remember you telling me about that.
Yeah.
You need to add it to your bands in town.
I will. Yes, sir.
You're gonna find out that I point stuff like that out a lot.
No, I appreciate the guidance, honestly.
John Lane, who we're going to hear from here shortly, he will do the outro to the show, is the lead singer of the band, the Hellfire Club, out of Akron, Ohio. And I'm constantly reminding him, hey, you have shows coming up. They're not on your website.
That's that teacher in you.
It is, but it's also, if you don't put your information out for people to know where you are, they're not going to know where to go.
Right. You're right.
And he's terrible at it. And he'll admit it. In fact, when he does make an update, he'll call me or send me a message. He's like, I updated the website.
Well, I don't know about him, but for me, it's like just taking on so much, like by yourself. Like that's why I appreciate your help so much, is because I do everything myself on top of the pregnant wife and the job and the, so like it's just a lot, honestly.
Yeah, I've been there. As you're going to learn that I'm going to say worse, but that's not really what I mean. It's going to get worse. And then as your children get older, it gets a little easier. Like now where I have two 11-year-olds and a 13-year-old, they are a lot more self-sufficient than yours is going to be.
That makes sense.
I mean, they still need help, but not, they can go make a sandwich if they're hungry.
Right. Making a sandwich.
I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me tonight.
Cheers. Thanks, Bill.
You're welcome. So once again, you can find them easily by going to epk.firstangelmedia.com/crasharmy. I'm glad I'm not the only one that has that problem.
Right and the right is left.
Yep. Once you're there, you will, after 7 p.m. on October 31st, you'll be able to watch the new video. There is a song link there from Bandcamp that you can listen to. There's some photos. The shows will be listed there as soon as I remind Corey again.
I'm on it.
And all of the places most of the places where you can find the music are listed right across the top with logos that you will recognize. And the band's contact information is also on the top of the EPK. So find out everything you need to know about Crash Army there.
Hell yes.
All right. So here's what's going to happen. Up next, you are going to hear John the American Hill-Jack Lane telling you how to subscribe, listen, and leave comments about the show. Once you hear that, you will know that this episode has ended. And if you're listening on rootooradio.com or buildascene.com/radio, you should hang out and listen to the music that's coming up next, because both stations are supporting the show and both stations are playing unsigned and independent music for you to enjoy. My name is Bill. This is episode number 68, and I will catch you next time.